After a quality start against the Mets, there's only one more thing that Nick Lodolo needs to do to be back.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, welcome in. I'm Stephen Offenbaker. He's Jeff Carr. Thanks for being an everydayer, and thanks for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcasting network in all the land. A little bit later in today's show, I am going to shock you with my new Matt McLain take. It is probably not what you expect. Here a little bit later, also, we're going to talk about the lineup that the Reds rolled out yesterday in Queens that hung 7 runs on the Mets, and discuss if we're a believer in this lineup as constructed. But where we are going to begin, Nick Lodolo brings a quality start. Nick Lodolo does some good things. Nick Lodolo has a decent outing, but are we a believer? That is where we are going to begin today, Jeff, because as nice as it was to see, I don't know if I'm ready to put up the Nick Lodolo is back banner out at GABP.
He's so close. It's clear that he is almost there. And we've talked about the fact that it feels like he is, back in spring training because of the injury that he dealt with. And here he is. He pitches a phenomenal game, gives up just 1 run, the solo shot to Marcus Semien in this game, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks. That was a beautiful stat line. And so you're probably thinking he's back, right? Well, when you look at the pitch breakdown, there's one question I have. Is the curveball right? And honestly, it was something that you saw throughout this game. The curveball was a lot more side to side than it was north to south. And there were a couple of moments like the strikeout he had of Mark Vientos, where Mark Vientos swung over top of the curveball hit him in his leg, ricochet off, and for a minute he ran down to first base and a run scored, and everybody's like, wait a minute, what just happened? And the umpire was like, no. He swung and missed, and the ball hit him. The ball's dead. We're done. There's nothing more to this. But most of the time, it was a little bit more flat going through the zone. And he actually threw his fastball more than he threw his curveball. And he's still throwing the changeup quite a bit. I think that there's 2 schools of thought with this, Steve. Is he, A, developing a third pitch that he can trust in the changeup? Or is he, B, trying to replace the curveball? And I don't think that you can fully rule out B.
No, I think he's trying to replace the curveball. You look at the differences in the curveball, the differences you just described. I think he's using 2 grips in the game. When we see the vintage Nick Lodolo back foot breaking pitch, he's using his original grip, the grip that produces blister grip. When you get the flat curveball, when you get that curveball that's not doing Nick Lodolo things, it's the new grip that doesn't put as much pressure on his finger and his fingernail to throw it. That's what's going on with Nick Lodolo. They showed you hit on this yesterday, and hat tip to you because the broadcast picked up on this on yesterday's or 2 shows ago. The broadcast picked up on it yesterday. Where they talked about Nick Lodolo and the usage of the changeup. And every year that changeup usage has gotten higher up to yesterday's game where it's now at 20. He's at 28% using that changeup. I think he's trying to find a new out pitch. He's trying to find a way not to be so reliant on that breaking pitch, the vintage Nick Lodolo breaking pitch, right? Because that's his out pitch. That's the pitch that makes Nick Lodolo. But what we've learned is he cannot throw it consistently over the course of a season because he's going to get a blister. So I think the answer is right there in front of us, Jeff. He is looking to work on a new pitch, but he's sprinkling in that vintage breaker when he has to right now until he can come up with another pitch, another grip, another option that he believes in as much as he believes in that breaking ball. I don't know if he's going to find that pitch.
I like the fact that he is trying to reinvent himself on the fly here. I do. Because I feel like there's a lot of times, and honestly, the Reds organization deserves a lot of flack for this, where it's just like they see what's coming and they don't change and they don't get ready for it. It feels like Nick Lodolo is trying to change. But as much as I admire that, I'm worried about that because I know who Nick Lodolo is with his curveball. I'm not sure that he is the guy that the Reds need without it. Now, he could develop his changeup and fastball combo into something that is really good, and I hope that that happens. And then he can use the curveball as a bit of a change of pace, as opposed to the every other pitch that he has used for most of his career, the kind of thing that he's really looking to, base his entire game around. But I still think that there's something to this, that he just doesn't see his curveball working out and him not getting a blister. And so he is trying to reinvent himself, but man, this worries me a little bit individually for him. And that's why I say that's the one thing. Like, I honestly almost just need to see a Nick Lodolo report the day after he pitches, where he just goes to a camera and he goes, "Look, here it is. No blister. We're good." And I think that I'm better about this.
You just described a middle reliever, fastball changeup guy that can sprinkle in a breaking pitch when he has to try and keep the hitters honest. That's not a top 2 or 3 starting pitcher. That concerns me. And the more we talk about this, the more concerned I actually get. I'm not feeling better, Jeff. I'm feeling more concerned as we talk about this. Look, I want Lodolo to be Lodolo, but I don't think he can be that dominant guy without that breaker, without the vintage breaker. I just don't see that he can put together a curveball or a new breaking pitch on the fly during the season right now to do that. Maybe in the offseason, but if he was going to do that, wouldn't he have done that already? Would he not have already developed that pitch?
And I agree, but I also feel like he's probably sitting here just like, guys, I had 7 strikeouts and no walks. Like, I gave up 1 run and it was a solo shot. What else do I got to do? Like, I got to throw a shutout every time out. What do you guys need from me? And I would love to say, you know what, Nick, you're right. But you're also pitching against the Mets, who stink, and they didn't have the 3 best players. It wasn't a matter of you were missing one guy in the lineup. Like, there was a guy in the lineup for the Mets that I'd never heard of before. Who is Morabito? That name was made up, and they just put some guy in there because Juan Soto couldn't play. Like, I don't understand. And he's, to his credit, he's facing guys that he should get out, and so he gets them out. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get too high too fast on Nick Lodolo, because trust me, if Nick Lodolo is Nick Lodolo, then we really start to change our aspirations for this team back into what they were in February. Whereas right now, I think it's a little bit like, I still think they can win 87 games. If Nick Lodolo is Nick Lodolo, I'm like, baby, they can win 90 games. But I'm not ready to say he's Nick Lodolo yet.
I mean, we're in a weird place. They're 3 games over 500. Nick Lodolo's not quite right. The Hunter Green hasn't thrown an inning yet. Brady Singer,
only 4.5 out of first. Yeah.
Brady Singer seemingly shouldn't pitch again right now. And they're only 4.5 games out of first with a bullpen that can't get anybody out and gives everybody a free pass. So it's a wild time to follow this team right now. And really, there's a lot of direction to go up from here. So yeah. I'm trying not to push the panic button, but I'm also trying to be realistic.
No.
Now, I'm excited about what we saw from Nick Lodolo. But for all the reasons you just said, for all the reasons I just said, it's not time to be like, whew, that was a close one. I'm glad Lodolo's back. We're not there yet. I need to see more, and I need to see more against good teams. I need to see that he can truly use that OG breaking pitch, that back foot breaker when he has to, and not end up back on the injured list with a blister.
100% agree with you. But the good news is, on top of Nick Lodolo having a good game, so did the lineup. And based on what we saw on Monday, the Reds don't need to change that for a little while.
30.
As some of you may know, my other job is to manage the MLB shows for the Locked On Podcast Network. And there are times where we have openings. And Indeed sponsored jobs makes it so easy to fill those job openings, because we're always looking for the host that knows what's up. We're looking for that passion. We're looking for specific traits. We're looking for the best fit. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps us do all of that because we can set exact parameters for our job posting. And listeners of today's Locked On Reds will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get that premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on Locked On Reds. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Thanks for making Locked On Reds part of your day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. Look, you already make Locked On Reds part of your day. Now take it up a notch. Go ad-free. Join the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club. We've got the link down in today's description to learn more, or if you just want to type it in, it's Locked On Reds, all one word, .supercast, all one word, .com. It's $5 a month, $50 for the whole year. Ad-free feed. You get a group chat in the Discord where you get to talk trash with other teams. You can talk trash with Ryan Finkelstein over Locked On Mets and all the Locked On Mets fans as well during this series. So much more. Follow the link in today's description to learn more. All right, Steve, the reason that anybody be talking trash about this game, or hopefully the rest of the series, is the fact that the lineup just went. And by the way, if you listened yesterday, I told you in the FanDuel read, take the Reds over 3.5 total runs scored. I smashed that against Nolan McLain. I thought maybe they'd get a couple against McLain, and then they'd get some against the bullpen, and they'd be above 3.5. They ran McLain, the not odds-on rookie of the year favorite for the National League, but the guy who's fighting with Sal Stewart for that award, ran him out in the 4th inning because they were just hitting all over the place. And the fact that this lineup did that is not even the main reason that I want to see more of this. Like, I just feel like that was the best lineup that Tito's put together this whole year. And I want to see this in perpetuity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this might be one of the better lineups he's put out all season long. You look at how it was constructed. I like Blake Dunn up top right now until there's somebody that can take it away from him or Blake Dunn plays his way out of it. I like that move. I like him up there. I like following him with Elly De La Cruz in the number 2 spot. We've been seeing that. Love JJ Bleday right now in the 3 spot. He's got the power. He's got some speed. He's able to manufacture hits, and he's able to move guys over if they can get on in front of him. I like Bleday there. And then, of course, that gives you Sal Stewart batting 4th in this lineup. Sal Stewart, who I think is figuring it back out. We talked about this on yesterday's show. He's showing signs of getting back to kind of where he was at the beginning of the season. There's going to be a cat and mouse game all year long between Sal Stewart and the pitchers of this league. As they continue to figure him out, he's going to have to continue to adjust. It looks like he's doing that. Love him as the cleanup hitter on this team. Like him in that spot. Love penciling in Gino right behind him. There were you guys in the comment section. We read the comments, folks. There were you guys in the comment section. Gino's washed up. Gino's too old. This is what they do. They sign old people to play baseball. Eugenio Suarez with a pair of hits, 2 for 3 on the day, scored not 1, but 2 runs. Gino would like your apologies sent directly to him. You look at the rest of this lineup. Spencer Steer in the 7 spot in this lineup, Jeff, this tells you the lineup is finally starting to come together. When you get to number 7 and only now do we have the Spencer Steer appearance, this is where you start to know the lineup's coming together. And then 8, of course, with Tyler Stevenson, there's nobody to replace him. 9, we're going to talk about in the next segment, but I like this lineup construction.
I think it's interesting, and call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Have we found multiple guys to follow Elly De La Cruz in the lineup? Like we talked in February, whenever Eugenio Suarez was coming in here, we're like, okay, finally, the Reds have them somebody to put them behind Elly De La Cruz. And then on opening day, they put Sal behind Elly De La Cruz. We're like, okay, maybe. And then he went off, and we're like, okay, we got that guy. But now we have JJ Bleday behind Elly De La Cruz, and it's like, it feels like this lineup is starting to fill out. Like this isn't just boy, they got to ride the hot hand with what they got. Like I like this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I skipped over Nate Lowe at number 6. So you go 1 through 7 in this lineup. There's not a hitter that doesn't have somebody coming up behind them that will make you pay if you don't pitch them honest. All the way from 1 to 7. Only when you get to the catcher do you start to run into problems? So this lineup, as constructed, forces the opposing pitcher to come at guys. They can't pitch Ellie around the ankles because Blade is going to drive him in. They can't pitch Blade around the ankles because Sal Stewart's coming up next. Can't pitch him because you got Gino who can make you pay. The list just keeps going. I love that there's danger all the way down to number 7 for guys that can run into one, guys that can beat you with one swing. If you put a couple free runners on base, suddenly you're down 3-0 because these guys can beat you.
And I feel like you don't have to necessarily replace the guys that we saw. I mean, McLain's a righty, and so you're thinking, okay, well, Blade and those guys, you probably got to think about Nate Lowe. You got to take those guys out whenever a lefty's pitching. I don't think so. Like JJ and Nate Lowe have looked pretty good against lefties so far this year. And again, tiny sample size, the year's just getting going. But at the same time, like I feel like this 1 through 7, you could reorder them a little bit if you want to. Like Spencer Steer can hit anywhere in this lineup. I firmly believe that. Dude is coming up clutch as the year goes along. Like I know that Baseball Reference assigns leverage to at-bats, like, high leverage at-bats. They do this with pitchers too, like high leverage appearances for relievers and things like that. They do it for batters, and they said that in high leverage situations, Spencer Steer's got an OPS around 900. Like he's coming through when the Reds need him to do that, and he is the guy that's hitting 7th. That's what we're talking about with this line. Like, it's fantastic to see. Another question that I have for you about this lineup, though, Steve, the guy hitting leadoff, not the guy that we would have thought that would be hitting leadoff back in February. Blake Dunn right now continues to show things, show moments, show plays that it's like, I got to see more of this dude. And I'm starting to think that he is replacing TJ Friedl. Yes. He does everything that TJ Friedl did right for the last couple of years. And TJ Friedel's kind of fallen off this year. Like, Blake Dunn's not going to make an award list. Blake Dunn's probably not going to be on other teams' radars whenever they go to face the Reds. But after the series is over, everybody's going to be like, dude, that Dunn guy, man. Did you see that guy play? Like, Blake Dunn's doing some things. He's turning some heads. I need to see more from him. I like what we've seen so far.
Yeah, TJ Friedel's only still a conversation because there's just nobody better at AAA to replace him with. That's really the answer. I mean, you look at Blake Dunn's numbers right now. In the last couple of weeks, Jeff, Blake Dunn's 317, 378, 488. I'll take that out of a leadoff hitter all season long. That's not a problem. You keep looking at what's going on with Blake Dunn. He's talked about that he learned a lot during his first call-up last season, and he took that back down to Louisville. He did things the right way. He took what he learned. He applied it. And he looks like a whole different guy. Can he do that over the remainder of the season? Well, time's going to answer that question. But right now, I think, Sadat called this a week and a half ago when he said, we love TJ Friedl, but Blake Dunn has played in such a way that he deserves more playing time. And we're seeing that now. And I think Sadak was absolutely right. Blake Dunn deserves the lion's share of the playing time and the at-bats, given how he's been performing.
And I think... And I don't even know that this is unique to Reds fans. I think this is just as a baseball fan in general. There's a type of player that we crave to watch. We crave to watch a hard playing, hard nose, just keeps his head down all the time. He's really athletic, fast. He makes the plays in the field, plays at the plate, plays on the base paths, all that stuff. It kind of seems like what Blake Dunn is. Like, I think that we've been hit over the head with 5-tool, this, that, and the other, and we know that that's important. But at the same time, there's just a guy that you'll watch on a day in and day out basis, and you're like, man, that guy, he just goes hard. And Blake Dunn goes hard. He, satisfies that craving as a fan to watch a guy who's just playing his butt off every single day.
Yeah, Cincinnati loves to find themselves a blue-collar, nose-to-the-grindstone, Charlie Hustle kind of guy. That is what Cincinnati loves. Jeff, I would be remiss if we got out of this lineup conversation and I did not provide a Tyler Stevenson home run watch update. I don't know if you all saw the game, but Tyler Stevenson went yard, and we have 36 jacks to go. before we hit the magic number of 40, ladies and gentlemen. I know everybody's been waiting for an update. That is where we are at. 36 long balls to go
season left
before Tyler Stevenson gets to 40. There is a lot of time remaining. I am a believer. Go get him, Ty Steve. Go get him.
Yeah, go get him, Ty Steve. Somebody else needs to go get him right now. So the dude is hitting number 9. And you mentioned we talked about 1 through 7. We love 1 through 7. There's a problem at number 9. And honestly, Steve's about to surprise you, and he's about to surprise me, because he surprised me whenever we were talking about this. I think it's time for the Reds to see who else they got besides Matt McLain.
If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all of the sugar. That's why Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shot brings the nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic cotton candy taste you remember, but with the tasty caffeine boost and 0 sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy, but I can't be eating sweets all day long. This is the perfect alternative. The flavor really does bring that throwback fruity vanilla vibe, and it's surprisingly smooth. And I like how convenient it is too. It's just a small portable shot that I can grab whenever I need a little pick-me-up. It's become my go-to when I want something sweet without going overboard. Bring the sweetness of cotton candy back with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots are available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. If you can't watch us here on YouTube, we're on every single audio podcasting platform out there. If you find one we're not on and you need us to be there, message Jeff. He can probably make that happen for you. That's also where the Everydayer Club lives, everyone. Ad-free Locked On Reds over there in the audio feeds. Link for that is down in the show descriptions. All right, Jeff, I have some things to say about the number 9 hitter, number 9 in your program, number 9 in your heart right now. Matt McLain continues to underperform and underwhelm. Now, here's what I've said. Here's the things that I've said. We're going to recap what I've had to say, and then we're going to move forward from them. Number 1, last season, you came with one of the worst takes you have ever delivered by saying that we should send Matt McLain down when there was nobody to call up, nobody to replace him with, and nothing better that could be done. I thought you were absolutely a lunatic. It was just this short of you saying we should trade him to the Dodgers for Shohei Ohtani. It was that bad of a take. I defended him left and right, tooth and nail, fought for Matt McLain. This season, Matt McLain put up an amazing spring and made us all kind of start to believe again. We get into the regular season, and he was right back to that guy that was struggling to produce. What I said at the time was, as long as TJ Friedl, as long as Ke'Bryan Hayes are in this lineup taking up at bats, do not talk to me about Matt McLain, because Matt McLain was still getting on base with an on-base percentage of better than 300. Those other guys were abysmal. Well, we have arrived in a time and a space now where there is a guy in AAA that could be better. There is a guy that can give you the same type of elite defense. There is a guy that certainly cannot perform worse at the plate than Matt McLain is performing right now. That guy exists. Number 2, TJ Friedl has lost his starting job, apparently, to Blake Dunn. We just talked about that. And Ke'Bryan Hayes came down with a case of I can't hit the ball itis and finally got put on the injured list and is no longer taking up at bats in this lineup. All of those things have now arrived us at a point where the Reds have to make a move with Matt McLain. I think you send him down to Louisville, you let him go get his head on straight. Hopefully he can figure out how to hit again. And in the meantime, you get Edwin Arroyo up here as fast as possible. You start him every day at second base. He gives you the defense that Matt McLain gives you. You do not have a drop-off, and you certainly can't get worse of a performance out of the 9 spot. And let's see if Edwin Arroyo is truly cooking with gas right now and can hit major league pitching. It's time to find out what's up.
There's a couple of different angles to this, because Matt McLain is a guy that you can point to with his fielding and say, well, the glove is decent enough, and he's fast enough on the base paths. And you're right, he's still getting on base around 30% of the time. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of other value past that. He's not hitting the ball super hard. And he's not, like, right now he is below league average when it comes to quality of contact, below league average when it comes to barrels. he's not a guy that you can look at and say he's getting unlucky, and that's why his stats just haven't caught up yet. I'm surprised to say this because I would have thought he would have been in that category. But we are now getting into a place in time where I am thinking about who Matt McLain compares to that we've seen in recent memory. And my first thought was Jonathan India. And what I found that was surprising to me, that in Jonathan India's first 3 seasons, albeit more games played than what Matt McLain has had to this point, but in his first 3 seasons, Steve, he was worth 5.1 wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference. As it currently stands, Matt McLain is not going to catch up to that unless he just goes on an otherworldly tear from now to the end of the season, because right now he's just at 3.7 for his first 2.5. And, you know, as if he were to get more and more playing time as the year progresses, there might be an argument there. But at the same time, like all of that being said, I just don't think he catches up there. And whenever the Reds traded Jonathan India, we were excited because we're like, yeah, we got Matt McLain. I think that they got better. But I think that hindsight's 2020 here, and I don't necessarily think they did.
No, you look at those wins above replacement numbers, Jeff, and you've got to factor in that, you know, you and I might have a better outs above average than Jonathan India. That guy simply couldn't play defense. He couldn't field. So, you know, Matt McLain is propping up his numbers with that extra defense. You know, that defense is factoring in. Offensively, it's not really much of a comparison. Yeah, sure. You know, Matt McLain had that gangbuster rookie campaign. Well, Jonathan India had a rookie of the year campaign. So you look at this is a pretty good comparison. Look, I have spent a year and a quarter now defending Matt McLain and telling everybody to slow their roll. But I don't think I can do it anymore, Jeff. I think we've reached a point where Edwin Arroyo has done enough at AAA Louisville to warrant a look, especially given the fact that Matt McLain is just not performing. When you take those two pieces together, it warrants a look. It warrants a switch. Matt McLain has options. Maybe he goes down for a couple weeks and figures it out and comes back and we're in great shape. I don't know. But I do know that we're starting to live out the definition of insanity with Matt McLain, expecting him to do something different while we do the same things over and over again. So I need them to take a look-see at Edwin Arroyo.
Yeah, and I've seen people say this, and I 100% agree with it. It's like the moment that you think Matt McLain is beginning to figure things out, he goes on a slump. And right now he's on a slump. He's 0 for his last 17. He is just in the middle of just the muck right now. Like he's actually got a lower batting average and a lower slugging percentage than last year. And his on-base percentage, I think after Monday, might actually be lower than last year's as well. So there's a lot about what we're seeing from Matt McLain that it's starting to tell us, as much as we fought against it and we said he is more 2023 than 2025, the numbers are not agreeing with us. They are telling us that he is more 2025, and that is concerning for his sake. But at least for the Reds, the rest of the lineup is starting to figure it out. And like you mentioned, there was no need to address the McLain of it all until you addressed other areas. Well, the Reds have done that. They have Ke'Bryan Hayes out in Arizona and his inflated back problems. And you have TJ Friedel off the bench, but Blake Dunn does not look like he needs any sort of platoon. And so all of that being said, like they just need to make this move. Like Edwin Arroyo needs to be up here. We need to start figuring out who he is at the major league level. I saw Nick Krall's comments where it's just like, he needs more time at second base and AAA. Like, he doesn't. Well, what's he going to see in AAA? He's not going to see the major league level. He's fine. He's an athlete. He's the best shortstop glove in the system, according to most scouts. And if you're the best shortstop glove in the system, then you're the best second base glove in the system. I have no qualms about making that take. So let's just bring him on up here. Let's see if he can hit major league pitching, because he is killing AAA pitching right now. And it's time to see if this dude can swim, because that would be such an infusion.
This is the team that brought you Tyler Stevenson in left field. This is the team that brought you moving Noelvi Marte with no practice at all from third base to the outfield. Like this
Jesse
is
Winker
the team
in center field.
This is the team that decided that Kyle Farmer was a catcher and then was a second baseman and then was all these different things.
Shortstop.
Don't give me Edwin Arroyo needs more practice at second base. Get out of here with that.
No, yeah. Eugenio Suarez at shortstop. Yeah. We remember those.
I was there for that. Yeah, I was first on the spot with that one.
But no, it's like at this point, I think they're trying to find any reason they can to this because the thing that I thought about this is, all right, what is the value of having McLain on this roster? And the first thing that everybody's going to say is, well, Matt McLain's a leader. Matt McLain brings that intangible to the clubhouse. Why do we not think Edwin Arroyo can do that? Like, do we not think that there's other guys on this team to do that? Like
what Matt McLain brings from a leadership, good guy in the clubhouse standpoint doesn't equate to what Edwin Arroyo has the potential to bring in the number 9 spot in the lineup right now. Somebody else, a veteran, will step up and fill that void. And maybe that's just simply Matt McLain going and getting his head screwed on right and coming back. I understand there is a component to intangibles and there is a component to veteran leadership. There is a component to being a clubhouse guy. All those things are real. We've heard it from guys in the clubhouse that all those things are real, but they shouldn't impact what you're doing to put the best lineup, the best product on the field to win baseball games and win a division. So that doesn't even factor in.
Yeah. Intangibles are nice. The tangible stuff in the standings are what we want to see. And the Reds are 4.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers, and they are so close right now to where they were at the beginning of May. But they're close enough that there's everything that's still in front of them. Nothing has been decided this season. They still have all the opportunity in the world. They're making the right moves with the lineup. They don't need to stop. They've got a chance to continue to make this lineup even better. Let's go get Edwin Arroyo. Let's see that happen, and let's move forward with that. And that's how we're going to end today's podcast. Thanks so much for checking out today's Locked On Reds. Tomorrow, we're going to be breaking down another start of Chase Burns. Hopefully, he shoves. Hopefully, the Reds get themselves a series victory because they're set up real nicely here in Flushing, Queens to see if they can just continue getting at the Mets. Make sure that you're following us right here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, because we're all over the place there talking about the Reds every single day. You can also check out Locked On MLB, audio, video, all the things. We've got 3 different shows covering the league every single day between Sully, Mike Stanton, and Brett Chansey over on Back to the Bullpen and Game Night, watching every game every night so that you don't have to. That's all on Locked On MLB. It's just like Locked On Reds, free and available everywhere you get your podcast. But as for Steve, Tim Daniel on the postcast, and myself, which, by the way, shout out to him. Cavaliers, that season's finally over. My gosh, they got destroyed by the Knicks. Anyway, at least New York's got something, right? Like, I mean, that'd be horrible if New York had nothing to live for in sports. But they got the Knicks, whatever. Can't believe I just said that. Anyway, you can
shout out to Mo.
Shout out to Mo. You can check out Tim Daniel on the Reds postcast, and of course Steve and myself every single day, because we will be Locked On Reds every single day.
Hey, instead of saying Flushing, Queens, can we get like the toilet flush noise and just play that when we talk about the Mets?
We're gonna do like the fancy flushing sound, or like, you just used a park toilet sound.
Yeah, big and loud, buddy, just like the Mets. Big and loud, the New Yorker way.